Good afternoon, everyone. I am making some cakes again today. It's my husband's birthday today, so he is getting the Hawaiian carrot cake that I make. So I've already gone ahead and measured out all of my ingredients except for my pineapple, which is still draining. But I'm going to make some 9-inch rounds today instead of some of the square ones. So what I am doing is I'm going to make a 3-layer cake today. So I've doubled my ingredients that I need to make the 9-inch cake. And so what I've got going on is in here I have 480 grams of flour, 20 grams of baking powder. Sophia, please stop. 10 grams of baking soda and 4 grams. I've actually put in more. I think I put in about 8 grams of cinnamon and 10 grams of salt. Here I have 400 grams of grated carrots. And then in my bowl here, I have 600 grams of sugar. I have 6 eggs. I have 450 grams of vegetable oil and 16 grams of vanilla, and that I did measure more because I do measure with my heart on that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to mix this together. It'll only take a minute to go ahead and mix all of this together. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put you on pause while I do mix these. I will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've mixed together my sugar, eggs, vegetable oil, and vanilla. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my dry ingredients slowly. As you know, anytime I add dry ingredients, I always do it nice and slowly. I add it gradually, and I add it, and I start off my beaters on a very slow speed because I don't want all of the flour mixture to be going flying in my face and making a big mess on my counter and everything. I already have enough to clean up. I don't want to have to clean up anymore. And if you could see my sink from just the prep work from getting all of this stuff together, you would see that I already have a lot to do. So there's the last of the dry ingredients. Oops. And make sure that when you are mixing this, you do get into the edges of the bowl and such. You can go ahead and scrape down as well, but as long as you use the beaters and you run it against the edges, you should be fine. And make sure that you press it against the bottom of the bowl as well if you're using your hand mixer, and then that will make sure that you're incorporating all of these ingredients. Okay. Gonna give my spatula a quick little wash here. Okay. Now we're going to measure out the pineapple. It should be drained enough by now. And I need 340 grams of pineapple, which basically equates to about 2 cups. Just a little bit more. There we go. So we're going to pop those into our bowl. And we're also going to put our grated carrots into the bowl as well. Now when I grated the carrots, I did use the smallest setting for the grating. When I'm making a carrot cake, that's just how I prefer, that's just the size of the grate that I prefer to use. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold these into the cake. Now also, I haven't done this myself, but if you want to add in other ingredients like nuts or raisins or something like that, you can go ahead and do that as well. I would recommend though that if you are adding raisins, make sure that you hydrate the raisins first. So just put them into a bowl with really hot water for about half an hour to an hour or so, just to hydrate those raisins so they're not going to soak up all of the moisture that you have in your cake, because the raisins will do that, and you don't want to take any moisture away from this cake. It is very, very moist, but you want that moisture in there. Okay. So as you can see, we've gone ahead and we have folded in our ingredients. Now I only have 2 springform pans, but I am going to go ahead and weigh out how much of the how much my mixture weighs, and then I'm going to divide that by 3. And then this extra bowl that I have here will just be to help for any extra batter if I need it. So my bowl right now, let's just get another spoon, another spatula here, just so that I can make sure that I'm weighing the full amount. I already did pre-weigh this bowl before I did start adding the ingredients to it, and it weighs 240 grams. So what we're going to do now, just put those there, start our scale up. Because my hands are a little wet, I'm just going to dry this off. So everything in here weighs 2,940 grams. So we're going to go 2,940. We're going to subtract the 240 grams. So that leaves me with 2,700 grams. So it should be about 900 grams. If I divide it by 3, it should give me 900 grams for each cake. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use this bowl here, and I'm going to weigh the 900 grams into this bowl, and then I'm going to pour it into my my springform cake pan here. Now I'm just going to go ahead, if I can grab it. I have a dog in the way down there, and I don't want to boot him out of the way. So I'm just going to spray my springform pan here with my spray oil. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and weigh out 900 grams. Make sure our scale is at 0. Now it doesn't need to be exactly 900 grams, but you do want to get it as close to the 900 grams as possible so that you can go ahead and have each cake weighing approximately the same amount, so it'll take about the same amount, so it should take the same amount of time to cook each cake, each layer. So now we're at 832, 911. So we're going to take out a little bit of the batter from there. 901. So that's good. So now we're going to take this and pour it into our pan here. Okay. And we're just going to give it a bit of a plop to try and get out any air bubbles in there. Now we're going to take the second springform pan, pop that into, put that together. Should probably already had these put together before I started this, but I washed them this morning. I think my springform pan is starting to get old. It's not sealing in there the way it should be. It's still in there, but it doesn't seem to be sealing the way it should be. I have had these springform cake pans for probably about 20 years now, so eventually stuff like that does happen. Oops, I missed a spot. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to weigh out 900 grams again. We're at 910 right now, so we're just gonna take some of that out of there. There we go. Okay, let's put this in here so it doesn't. Now we're going to go ahead and pour this into our other cake pan here. Now normally I would put these in the oven right now, but we do have an errand we do have to run. We do have to run our truck down to the dealership. We need to do our regular maintenance on it, so my husband will be driving the truck, and I'm gonna follow him in the Jeep. So I'm not gonna put these into the oven until after we get back. Because we're gonna be leaving here in about 10 minutes, and I do not want to have anything in the oven while we are away, because I do prefer to make sure that I am around keeping an eye on things. All right, so I will come back shortly when I'm ready to put those into the oven, and we will go from there. I will see you soon. Okay, I'm back, so I'm about ready to put my cakes into the oven. Because I still haven't figured it out and I keep forgetting to buy a thermometer to test my oven, I've got it at 375 because I do know that the temperature does seem to be a little bit low. So I have increased the temperature to 375, and I'm going to put these two cakes into the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, and I will check it at the 30-minute mark. But I have put them onto a cookie sheet, a parchment paper lined cookie sheet. Okay, so now we're just going to put those into the oven, and I will be back in about 30 minutes or so to check on them. I will see you guys shortly. Okay, so I'm back. So I've had my cakes in the oven for about almost 50 minutes now. I have been checking them periodically, and the last time I checked them there was still a little bit of crumbs coming off of the cakes, but now there is not. So I'm going to, for this size and with my oven right now, until I figure out my oven, I'm going to say it takes about 45 to 50 minutes to cook these. So I'm just going to leave these on the stove right now so that they can cool down a little bit. In about 15 minutes or so, I will take them out of the pan and have them on a cooling rack and cooling down that way. So I will see you later when I'm ready to ice those cakes. Good evening, we're back to now go ahead and get ready to ice our cakes. We're going to make the cream cheese icing. So in my mixer here, I have 226 grams of softened butter. Now here to that, I'm going to go ahead and add 500 grams of softened cream cheese. Okay. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to beat that for a couple of minutes until it has been well incorporated between the two of them. Now, while this is starting to mix, I'll let you know that we're going to add in about 10 grams or more of vanilla extract. We are also going to add in a few grams, about 5 grams or so of maple syrup or maple extract, either one works, and then 400 grams of powdered sugar, icing sugar, confectioner sugar, whichever you would like to call it, okay? And so once this is ready, then we are going to go ahead and we are going to add these into our mixture here. Now, because I did double my cake recipe, I did double the icing recipe as well. So you can, in all honesty, half the recipe for this. Okay, so this is just doubled so that I can make sure I can cover my cake. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I have mixed that up a little bit. Let me get to that so I can show you what it looks like. So just like that, all right. Okay, now we're going to drop that. Now I'm just going to eyeball the amount of vanilla in here. As you know, vanilla is something I do measure with my heart. There we go. And as I said, we're just going to put in a splash. So about 5 grams maybe of this. So you can do more if you want, but in all honesty, I found that you don't want a whole lot of the maple, so that's why you just use a little bit. It just helps enhance the flavors of everything else. Other than that, it doesn't do a lot. And now, as you know, we're going to go ahead and I'm also going to slowly add in my icing sugar here. And you know how I do this. I always start off slow, and then I will speed it up after I've got it mostly incorporated. going to speed it up a little bit just to help with the incorporation. And now we're going to scrape down the sides a little bit. Not too much, because mostly what we're trying to do is we're just trying to scrape down mostly towards the top and get any icing sugar and such that has landed on the blade off. I'm gonna move this around. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. And this is what you want your icing to look like. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get everything ready to actually start icing the cake. I will see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to put my cake onto this cutting board that I have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just putting a little bit of the icing onto the cutting board so that we can go ahead and we can take the cake and we can put the cake on here, and it will give it some stabilization to stay in this spot. Now we're going to take some of our icing and put it onto this layer. Okay, and we're going to take our offset spatula here and spread it around. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but you do want to try and get it to the outer edges, just to make sure that you're not missing any parts from having any icing. Okay, so just like that. Now we're going to take this cake here and we're going to pop it onto there. I'm just washing my hands because I did lick my finger because, well, I had icing on my finger and I didn't want to waste it. It was an icing tax. Put that there. Going to continue to do this until you have all 3 layers on here. Hey, Lucy. Okay, and we're going to take our last layer, pop it on there. Grabbed a bigger spatula, but I didn't. We will make it work. And And yes, I did put a lot more on this layer compared to the other layers, but that is because I am now bringing it down. Now, one of the things with a cream cheese icing is that it is a little harder to make it look pretty like what you would with like a normal cake and such. The ones for these type of cakes look more like they are a crumb coat kind of covering on them. Which for most cake designers, if you don't know what a crumb coat is, it is just an initial coat that you put onto the cake to try and prevent crumbs from getting into the main layer of the icing. So it catches the crumbs and prevents them from getting into that top layer of icing, so it looks much better. Now you're probably not going to use the full amount of the icing, but there's no harm in having any extra icing. Just filling up a hole. Okay, there you go. So there is my Hawaiian carrot cake 3-tier with my cream cheese icing. Well, thank you. Have a good night and enjoy. Oh, actually, you know what? I will show it to you a bit better because I'm just looking at the view on the camera and you can't really see it. So here you go. See, as you can tell, it's not a perfect coating, and that's what I mean by a crumb coat. All right. Well, thank you. Have a good night and enjoy.